Alright YouTube, back out here again with my 95 Kawasaki STS. And it seems like half of my videos are working on this thing, but today I want to take care of something that actually happened last summer, but it wasn't anything that kept it from running. But anyway, so what I've got in my hands is something I got off eBay. It's just a new or used fuel level, oil, and engine temp gauge. The old one played out, and it actually had a hole in the top of it. So I assumed maybe moisture, water got in there, maybe killed it. Maybe not. I think there may be more going on to it than just replacing that. Tonight we're going to see. When I get this one in, we're going to see if I've got a little more, something more going on than just the fact that the gauge no longer works. So let's get over here to the ski right off here and see if we can get the old one out, get this new one in. Alright, so let's take a look at this thing real quick here. As I mentioned just a second ago, I think there may be more going on to this than just simply replacing this. When I first got this thing, with the key out, really just the lanyard, not a key, in the evening, the lights stayed on up here. And I always thought, I didn't think that was right. So anyway, obviously I'm thinking that it's draining the battery, and I still think that's kind of the case. But here's the old one that's sitting here, but there's a hole right here that I assume maybe killed this thing with the moisture, water getting all down in there. Maybe not, I don't know. But I also don't know if these fuel level light stays on 24/7 as long as the battery is hooked up. So if you guys have an answer to that, let me know. So what I did, I've pulled the battery because the battery's been sitting there a while, so I expected the battery to be low, but it was dead, so I've got it charging. So what I've done is just plugged it up here to the battery and was messing around with it. In fact, I think I'll just go ahead and don't need it right now, so we'll just go ahead and unplug the battery. Anyway, so I've removed the air box here to give me a little more room, and to get this, I've already kind of started. Let's back up here. So I've already taken out 3 screws here, and so we're going to undo this and pull it up through. I'm guessing that's the way it's going to go, because I'm looking at the one I bought, and so it's got this large lip on it there that goes against the wall there, but I'm looking down here and it also has another, so we're gonna have to work to get this back up through the feed it back through the hole here and through the bottom. So haven't done this before. We're going to figure this thing out, but like I said, that's the only one that bothers me here, just because of the size and getting it through the small hole that's in there. But so I followed it out already, the old one. So we'll come down here. Lighting's not so great. I ought to get a light, put it down here. But anyway, so I've got these two followed out to here, and then comes right down through here. And let me get the old one out, the new one out of the way. And I believe right here is the last connector. So I got 3. Got 1 there, 2 here, and I have 1 back just underneath here. And by the way, if any of you guys watch any of the videos of me rebuilding the top end on this thing and putting it all back together, nobody told me that I actually put in this water separator, filter, whatever it is, backwards. So the fuel lines should be coming out not toward the engine, but back that way. But you guys didn't say anything to me and just let me put it in here wrong. Anyway, I don't think it's going to cause any more construction of getting back in here to it than if it was just turned around. But right down in here, let's see if I got a flashlight here. I don't know if you can pick it up, but right there, just above the tank, is the other connector to unfasten, and my plan is then to pull it up through the top here. So let's see if we can get that done. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to do is finish removing this last screw, the fourth of the four screws, and we're going to see then we're going to start so that's just a plate. Okay, so I've got the old one out. I'm going to lower you down a little bit, and so I'm going to start disconnecting the wiring, and then we're going to start pulling this thing up. So let me see here. Okay, so my first connector is just right over the tank. The small red one's got a little clip that I'm pushing in to release it and pulling down. All right, so I've got that one disconnected. Got these two over here. First one down. This one is a little stubborn. Let's see if it's looks like it's the same kind of concept here, but I'm going to step away and get a little small screwdriver to help me get that clip off. Here we go. All right, I think I see a problem. Maybe something we had going on with the previous one. Let me take you off real quick and take a look at this connection from the old one. Let's see if we can see what I'm talking about here. I think the easiest way is just disconnect you here. So. All right, so here's the harness, and are you picking up? Hopefully you are, but this looks like it is black. It is actually just a hair above the connection, our little socket there, but it looks like it has been cooked. So that may have been the issue why it went out in the first place, and it might give a hint on the constant pull on the battery. Like I said, if you know if the gauge lights are supposed to stay on even when the ski is off, it just doesn't sound right, but that's what it was doing. And maybe that's an answer right there when I get this new one in here. I'm gonna have to get a light to this. I cannot see there. down into there. Just my lighting in the garage is not good enough. So I'm going to check that out. Inside there, but anyway, so I've got one more here to disconnect, and as you can see, they just have little clips that should just press and release. So I'm going to get that one. I'm going to put you back on the stand here, and going to move ahead with that. Apologize for the until I get you seated. Okay. All right. Hopefully I don't have the same kind of trouble. Nope, came right off. So I'm probably going to have to replace a clip. We'll see. So what I'm going to do, I don't want to, so what I've got a zip tie that's holding all the wiring up against the hull here. So I'm going to go ahead and put another zip tie around it down here to keep it all together. And then when I get it connected, I'll put another zip tie to hold it together. I don't want to lose all the wiring. And while they're all together, it's just easier to clip it together further down. So hold on just a minute. Alright, so again, I'm just zipping them up together because now I'm going to have to cut the zip tie. Got to cut the zip tie in order to pull the old out. It's too tight. And there we go. So, yes, I dropped it and it disappeared. So, I think I've got maybe have 2 zip ties. I do. So again, I have another section here that's zip tied together. I'm just going to put a temporary zip tie. Could be permanent, but until I get the new one hooked back up. In the meantime, I've got to cut this up. Alright, so now it's completely disconnected. The challenge is going to be to get it back up here. And let me just see how I've got you pointed here. Alright. So as I said, the challenge is going to be so I've got a lip here. This is really, this is going to be interesting how I'm going to make this work. So right now, I don't see how the whole thing is just going to come back up through here. So I'm going to have to wonder if I'm going to have to remove the hood here here's what I'm going to do. This is old, no good. Cut the whole wiring harness. That'll drop that down here, and at least I can get started. I don't know. Let's see if this will cut it. I doubt it. It's not. Nope. Alright, so I got the old one completely out. It's definitely going to be a challenge then to feed the new one back up through there. But let me show you a difference here. Let me just check out the one that I just pulled. Alright, so it only has the one clip there, and just where it goes in through the hood wall. That's it. The one that I've got here to put in has the lip here at the where it enters through the hood wall, but then I have a second one down here. So I'm going to clip that. We're going to take a look and see if I can do without this one. I don't see how this one, so I just clipped it and it looks like it'll slide right off, but doesn't appear I'm going to be able to get this connector through it. So I guess the next step is to just remove the whole thing. Alright, so I just removed the whole thing, and just in case, I'm going to put a little more tape right there where it's unraveling, and then we'll see if we can feed this one through the bottom, back up through here, and I just have a feeling a lot easier said than done. Yeah, so we've got to come up through that hole. So what I'm going to do is see if I can feed it up through here as much as I can into the little space behind this wall, and enough to where maybe I can reach in and gather it and no, what am I talking about here? Forget everything I've said. I've got to go from the top down, so I've got to feed it. Yeah, that's going to be a little more difficult, so I'm going to have to feed it down through here. So I'm going to stop the camera. Y'all probably yelling at me that I'm going about it the wrong way. So I'm not going to be coming up from the bottom of the hole. I'm going to be, or I guess the gas tank, above the gas tank through the hole there. I'm actually got to feed it down through here, and so I actually have a hole at the bottom, I mean at the back of this little tub here, and then another hole going down through there. So what I'm going to do is see if I can get a wiring hooked on here some way, then I can feed it down through there to where I can, enough to where I can get a hold of it and pull it through the rest of the way. So let me see what I can do to get that set up, and then I'll bring it back. Alright, so I'm bringing you back. What I've done, haven't completed it yet, but I found some wiring and I ran it through the bottom up through here. I can see it through the small hole. So I'm going to try to use, see if I can fish it through this. Alright, so here's the wiring that I've run through the bottom. Alright, so I think what I'm going to do is get some tape. I'm going to tape up these two connectors up against the wire and make it as small as possible so that they don't get hung up, and try to feed it using this wire. Let me get some tape here. One more tape up. Check it out, see if you got it. Well, that's a no-go. Actually, there is a second lip, whatever this thing is, down here, in here. So, time to raise the hood here, and let's see if I can figure this out by raising the hood and doing this up. Probably should have done that in the beginning, but so I'm not going to keep the video running. What I'm going to do is get the bolts holding the hood, get those undone, raise the hood, and I'll bring it back in. All right, so let me show you what I'm dealing with here. So I'm trying to where you can see. So on the inside, which I didn't know was here between the top of the hole going down into the hole, there is another, I don't know what you call it, but as you can see, the rest of this is too fat to go through this hole. So the only thing I know to do, I don't want to just cut this away and do away with it because of the hole and the chafing that could take place. So I'm thinking about just cutting this but then putting it back on. So pulling it off, cutting it off, and then when I've run the wiring all the way through, put it back in and down into the hole, and maybe tape it, maybe zip tie it around, you know, where the cut, and maybe that will hold. I don't know of anything else to do, but so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to cut this here off, finish feeding all the wiring down, and then put this back on. And so I've jumped back in. As you can see, I've raised the I had to take the handlebar padding off, and to get to a couple of screws up here. And right now I've just have the speedometer, just dropped it down in there because it is wired through the hole down here, so I couldn't take that out. Anyway, just got it cockeyed a little bit there to get to the hole here and hopefully get this straightened out. So I think that'll work. You know, by the time you see the video and you have an answer of what to do, I will have already done something. So all right, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. You see what I'm going to do, and so I'll bring you back probably once I get that done and all the wiring fed down through there, and then I'll bring you back and we'll wrap this up. All right. All right, so I'm bringing you back in. I finally got this run through, bolted back up to the hood latch there, and I went ahead and I did as I said. I cut the whatever you call this off. So I cut this off underneath the hood over there, and then zip tied it down here at the bottom and pushed it back down. So I think that's going to hold, be good enough. So I went ahead and bolted back down the hood. All I have left now is just put the handlebar padding, whatever, back up there. And so I ran the wiring down through here. I've already attached underneath there, you can't see it, but attached the connection right above the gas tank. And now I've run it out through here. So I've got these three, if I get my camera on it. So I'll connect these two here. I have one right down here. So let me get those connected. I'll put you back on the tripod. And let's see if we can get this wrapped up here. Okay, so I cleaned it out a little bit. I'm going to put a little bit of little grease in here. All right. Get that click in. Two of three. I'm going to run it through the zip tie earlier. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and just leave the zip ties I put on there. Cinch them up a little bit. Where's my cutters? All right. So let's see where we're at. I've got everything hooked back up, plugged back in. So why don't I connect this battery and let's see what we're coming up with. Let's see what happens here. Let's see if this will still be the best spot for you. I'll move you back just a little bit. All right, I'm going to kick this over. Let's see if I'm getting anything real quick from my gauges here. Let's see if they're working. Battery sounded pretty weak there. Fine. I got the fix for that real quick. All right, so the gauges are working. As I said before in the video, they were staying on 24/7, or as long as the battery was connected. So it's off, as you can see there. It's got the lanyard on, but it doesn't really matter. There's no lights showing. If I get the camera down there to it, no lights, so shouldn't be draining the battery when this thing is not on the lake. So, all right, that is it. All right, guys, I hope this helped somebody, maybe. If you end up in the same situation I did, I know I learned a lot just by doing this trial and error, so I'll know better the next time I get involved with something like this. But anyway, if there's things I could have done better, let me know in the comments section. And as always, appreciate you joining me.